So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this little fella, the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So I've been asked a few questions about the GoPro that I used in my last video, so I thought I'd go through a few of the features with you, give you a few hints and tips and show you some of the accessories that I've got. So here's the little fella in all of its glory. Looks pretty much identical to the GoPro Hero 5, apart from it is black and it's got a number 7 etched on the side. If we take it out of its case, you can see it looks very much the same as the previous GoPro. This surface is a little bit darker in colour. It's got a slightly different feel. The Hero 7 is a massive improvement from the Hero 5. You've probably seen in all the other videos where people are walking, running, snowboarding, whatever it is, the stabilisation is superb on this. Even when you're walking down steps, you should get pretty perfect stabilisation. That doesn't mean you can get away with violently shaking the camera, because unlike a gimbal, you actually get tilt with it, whereas a gimbal would hold the camera perfectly horizontal. But I think it looks better if you're banking around a corner on a bike. If you saw some tilt, I think it looks more realistic. The next huge improvement for me was the dynamic range of the camera. The colours now are perfect. And it used to be that when you face the camera towards the sun, you just got a big white sky. But now the software in the camera alters the exposure so you get a much better picture. Now this next feature you're going to be seeing on everybody's videos, the time warp. Somehow GoPro have managed to mix a time lapse with hypersmooth stabilization, and it looks something like this. The last thing you want to see is me jogging, but I'm hoping that the stabilisation is pretty good. So as you can see, the video quality is pretty damn good, and the stabilisation is superb for a handheld camera. So now this little pocket camera has amazing image quality. You can record at 4K at 60 frames per second with hypersmooth stabilisation. The dynamic range is excellent, and throw the odd time warp in the mix, you're going to get some really great videos. You can now also take some pretty decent photos with this camera. GoPro have added a new HDR function, and the software somehow gets the best settings, best exposure, all that, puts it all together and gives you a great snap. I'll show you one of these now. I do like the new touchscreen interface on the camera. You can switch between different modes just by swiping left or right. I'm not going to go into those in great detail. All I really wanted to show you is that I film all my GoPro stuff at 2.7K, 60 frames a second, with a linear field of view. A couple of things that I don't like. GoPro have done exactly the same thing again, where you've got to take the camera out of the case to charge it up. So what I've done is I bought an aftermarket case which allows me access to the charging port. So here's the new case. As you can see, it looks remarkably similar to the original. However, I can now get access to the charging port without removing the camera from the case. It only cost me about £8, so I'll pop a link in the description if you're interested in one of those. The next GoPro accessory, the GoPro Shorty. Sorry GoPro, but I think that's a rip-off. Costs about £30. And that's all it does. It's not very stable if you want to use it on grass like I do. Not bad if you want it on a table, but apart from that, I don't recommend it. You're much better off spending your money on something like a Joby GorillaPod or something like this. This little tripod was about £9. Has a quick release clip which I can screw onto the bottom of the GoPro. It's much more stable, it's much more flexible, but I really like the fact that I can wrap it around my hiking pole so I don't need to take a big tripod when I'm up in the hills. Now apparently GoPro had fixed the audio on the Hero 7, so I'm now going to switch to the GoPro Hero 7's internal audio. Here we go. So you tell me if they fixed it. So if I touch the camera side, I'm guessing you can hear that. When it's really windy up in the hills, you do get some distortion. I don't fancy going down here, it's a bit slippy and wet today, but the view's totally different this morning to what it was yesterday. So I still choose to use an external microphone when using the GoPro. So if you want to plug an external mic into the GoPro, you probably know you need one of these things. Again, that's another rip-off from GoPro, about 50 quid. But if you've got this case, you can attach it without having to take the camera out. So one little trick that I do is I just use some of these hair bobbles and I put them around and that holds the microphone adapter in place. I can then stick one of these little sacramonic mics into the GoPro adapter. So that's now quite a compact little vlogging setup. I'll switch to that camera now and show you what the audio is like. So this is the audio with the sacramonic microphone. Should be a little bit better than the internal microphone on the GoPro, although it's not brilliant because it's only a little small microphone. But I've used it quite a lot of times when I've been doing. I've used it quite a lot of times now in my videos. Pack's really small. It's very easy to set up with a little elasticated bands. I think it's perfect for what I need. I've also got another one of these cases set up. This one I've glued a little shoe mount onto the side of it. This allows me to mount my Rode Video Micro onto here. I can access the USB-C port, plug the microphone adapter in, and then I'm ready to go. This does give a bit better audio quality, however it's not quite as compact. This is the audio quality with the Rode Video Micro, so it's substantially better than the internal microphone on the GoPro. However, it is quite bulky, so I don't always take this with me up in the hills. On to the last couple of accessories that I use. There's a GoPro dual battery charger. It just uses a USB slot. I've got a spare battery in there. I always take a power bank with me when I'm on one of my trips. And the final accessory are ND filters. I only really use these in very bright weather, and they just clip onto the front of the GoPro. And it allows the GoPro shutter speed to be reduced, and therefore you get a much smoother video. So I hope that answers the questions that I've had about the GoPro Hero 7. I'll leave links in the description below to all the little bits of kit that I use when I'm filming up on the hills. It's a perfect little camera for outdoor vlogging. Highly recommend it. So lightweight, so compact. I'm no expert when it comes to the settings and things like that and the specs on this camera. But if you want some more information, I'll leave a link to a channel below. Guy's name's Mitch. He makes some really good videos on the GoPro. I suggest you go and check him out. So that's it for this video. Hope some of you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video when I hope to be up in the hills again.